Well, yesterday it was Bruce Pearl retiring. Today, Mike Gundy.
Oklahoma State firing.
Yeah. Pistol Pete not happy with Mike Gundy, and they have made a change. After 20 years in Stillwater, Oklahoma, Mike Gundy has been fired at Oklahoma State. 170 games he won at his alma mater. Among active coaches, only Kirk Ferenz at Iowa with 206 and Dabo Swinney at Clemson with 181 have more wins at their current school. 8 times Gundy won 10-plus games in Stillwater. He will be paid $15 million. If you remember, Gundy's salary was reduced last season down to $6.875 million after that really, really horrendous year they had last season. And it all came to a head on Friday night, Landrum, because Tulsa beat Oklahoma State 19-12. They lost by 66 points at Oregon. That was reprehensible. But getting beat at home, coming off a bye week by Tulsa?
Yeah,
that was unforgivable.
That's really, really tough, and you're right. You just wondered. You thought the writing's on the wall. I thought that Oklahoma State would probably just let him
finish it out,
carry on through the season. But for them to fire him, apparently their president, I'm guessing she's still there running that school. She has been very involved. She was very involved when Oklahoma had made the move to the SEC and trying to keep Bedlam together. And she's got her eye on athletics and college football. That's your money earner. And for Oklahoma State, you got to be better than where you are right now, and maybe coming in and bringing in some fresh leadership. I don't know who that would be, but we already have recommendations on where Mike Gundy should go. And George Kliakoff's burner phone says Gundy to UCLA.
I love George Kliakoff's burner phone. I miss him.
But if I'm UCLA, I would have a conversation if I'm Martin Jarman, their athletic director, with Mike Gundy.
Why not?
Can you do any worse than what you've done with some of your other head coaching hires?
And on top of that, you felt like Oklahoma State, after seeing what Oklahoma did over the weekend against Auburn, and having a team that is just, the momentum is gathering in Norman for them to make a potential run here in the SEC this year. And with Oklahoma State not being a part of the Southeastern Conference, but still being a part of the Big 12, they've got 11 straight FBS losses. 11 straight. It's been a minute.
Was Arkansas the last one?
Yes, it was.
Oh, man.
And they should have lost that one.
But just to put it in perspective, and I want to be kind because we do have to travel there for the final regular game, season game of the season, and I've not looked at Tulsa a whole lot. I just know where Tulsa has been, and it has been a struggle to get that thing even back to 5-6 wins and trying to do so. That loss last Friday night, that speaks volumes about where your program is.
Yeah, we were following it like at halftime.
It's as respectfully as I can say it.
Yeah, we were following it at halftime of the Hillcrest-Hewitt game, and Mikey Hammonds, who's one of our stat guys, he like showed me his phone, and I said, "You got to be kidding me." And I was like, he may not make it to the end of the night.
Here's what's crazy. You know, the double-digit win seasons that he's had, but it was just 2023 when they went 10-4.
Yeah.
7-6 the year before that. The season before that, they're 12-2, 8-3 during COVID, 8-5 prior, 7-6, and then 10-3, 10-3, 10-3, all stacked up. He was really good there. And I don't know if Oklahoma State is one of those places. You can go get a young up-and-comer, but that's not a place that's probably going to attract what you would consider even a second-tier name?
Okay, I can't. Conrad, I need for you to pull up Dimitri Ravanos' Twitter.
Okay.
He is our guest at 1 o'clock. Obviously, you got to edit it, but just read his tweet just moments ago, which I agree with him.
Dimitri's tweet says, I say this with all due respect to the fact that I don't really know the situation there, but my guy says, for who?
So his point being,
Who are you going to get?
you just fired a guy that has won more games than anybody, and it's a bad situation regardless. But who are you going to go get? You going to go get Brent Pry? You going to go get Deshaun Foster? Now I will say this about Virginia Tech. And I know a couple weeks ago I probably bored the audience because I told you about a meeting that they were having, the AD with the Board of Trustees, basically saying that they needed to up the ante in regards to what Virginia Tech needed to spend over the course of the next 10 years. How far behind Virginia Tech was with other ACC schools. Well, after they fired Brent Pry as the head coach, they went back in front of the Board of Trustees, and get this, they are going to up the spending in the athletic department about $50 million more a year.
They're at $122 million right now, right?
I saw they want to go up from about 140 up to like 190.
Yeah, I'd seen 200 was where Whit Babcock felt that they could.
So guess what? That just means they're about to be a serious player.
Yeah,
because they can look around the landscape of college football. Let's talk Texas Tech, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Texas Tech goes to Salt Lake City over the weekend with that bought roster, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. That's college football today. They go to Salt Lake City, and they make the world now believe that the Red Raiders can be a force in the Big 12 Conference this year in regards to what they can do compete-wise. So guess what Virginia Tech's going to do? Virginia Tech, now that they're going to have that influx in budget for the athletic department, they're going to do exactly what everybody else is doing. I think that is going to be a very, very attractive job to a lot of people just because of what the Virginia Tech administration has now done, putting the money where their mouth is.
And that's, if you want to flip the script year to year and go from dreadful to good, then that's what you got to do. You got to spend, and that's going to attract a lot of folks that in the past they wouldn't have looked twice at a Virginia Tech letter or taken a phone call to go and play in Blacksburg. And I still think that their success has been recent enough, Pat, where that still resonates even with young people, where they do know Frank Beamer. They do know about how much pride they took, whether it was in their defense and Bud Foster and what they did with special teams, but also guys like Michael Vick and others that have come through that program. But the commitment to spending, because that's the first question an agent or a coach is going to ask these days. What does the collective look like?
Yep.
How much money do I have at my disposal? It used to be, what is my pool for assistance? And that's still important, but how much money do I have to work with? And what does the infrastructure look like? Because if you don't have that these days in college football, ask Adabo Sweeney this year. It can show up pretty quick.
So already a couple of names that have jumped off the page in regards to potential interest by Oklahoma State. One is the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons, Zach Robinson. If that name sounds familiar, Zach Robinson played quarterback at Oklahoma State, and he is the current offensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons. Also, G.J. Kinney. He is the head coach at Texas State. He was a backup quarterback in the NFL. I think he played for the Eagles at one time. So those are two early names that have been thrown out there.
You got a few more that have been thrown out. I don't know if you mentioned him, Texas A&M offensive coordinator Colin Klein.
I have not.
You can go ahead and you make contact with him. You bring him to Stillwater this week. And that would be good news for Hugh Freeze and the Auburn Tigers, I would think. Also, a couple of other names, Pat, that have been mentioned. This would be a good one. Barry Odom, Purdue head coach.
Purdue. Yep.
We saw what he did in the SEC, multiple stops, but also what he did most recently at UNLV. And another very interesting name, and this would definitely fit North Texas head coach Eric Morris.
Yep.
That style of offense. He was there at Incarnate Word. I don't think it's. I mean, this is the Oklahoma State job, so you see already the preliminary list that they're putting out. Unless there is a coach that is out there that is either really unhappy with their situation or has learned, you know what, I retired too soon.
Well, based on the fact that the Atlanta Falcons were shut out by the Carolina Panthers this weekend, I would think that Zach Robinson is probably on a very short leash. I would think.
Yeah. But if you're going to go the unproven or let's go with an offensive mind from the NFL, don't you at least make a phone call to you know who? John Gruden.
Yeah.
Coach, you want to get back. You said you want to coach college football. We got a great place for you to do it.
What if they reach out for Coach O? You go from Gundy to Coach O. Well, that'd be something.
Wait, did you bring up Tommy Reese? I feel like his name's been in every coaching search or every potential coaching search conversation.
Oh, this just in, Matt Campbell. I'm kidding.
Yeah. So, yeah, the big story, if you're just now tuning in, after 20 years at his alma mater, Mike Gundy fired at Oklahoma State. The third big job. So now we've got Virginia Tech, UCLA, and Oklahoma State open for business.
Always entertaining. No matter if his teams weren't playing well, he was always entertaining, whether it was a post-game press conference, a midweek interview. What he said, Mike Gundy, he certainly spoke his mind. And at times, it did get him into some hot water, but you can't argue the success that he had there in Stillwater.
There's no doubt. Listen, he was a walking soundbite. You got to love that. The buyout's $15 million. Oklahoma State's got that. That's not going to be a problem. But among active coaches, only Kirk Ferentz at Iowa, Clemson's Dabo Swinney have more wins at their current school. 8 times Gundy won 10-plus games. So goes without saying, maybe he just did not adapt for the change.
You think this meeting with he and the president and the people that matter, you think that started on Saturday?
Yeah,
and they worked out maybe some details.
And I will say this about him. He was very honest after they got blown out. When you lose by 66 to Oregon, the post-game press conference I watched, you could tell he was still searching for answers on this football team. And then after they lost to Tulsa the other night, and then his weekly press conference that he had, I believe it was yesterday, in which he basically said that he doesn't blame the fans. Like, you should be asking those type questions, because he had built a certain standard in Stillwater, and it just hasn't worked the last couple of years.
And look, you get it. There's a lot of things that maybe they don't make it to print, they don't make it to the airwaves, that go on within a college football organization, and it's so fluid. But there are times when the head coach just doesn't have the answers. And for whatever reason, it's not working. They've tried everything that they can think of, whether it's changing up how they practice, the time of day that they practice, play calling, who's responsible for this position group. For whatever reason, sometimes it just doesn't work, and that has certainly been the case in Stillwater, at least the last season and a half.
So 11 of Gundy's teams spent at least 1 week in the top 10 in the AP poll. They climbed as high as number 2 in the rankings in 2011. You remember that?
Yeah.
That was huge. Gundy led teams to a pair of top 10 finishes in the AP poll, finishing 3rd in 2011 and 7th in 2021. So, like you pointed out a minute ago, Landrum, it just was not too long ago that Gundy actually had a pretty decent year, and Oklahoma State was relevant.
What's his age?
We'll see. He was 40, and that was
58.
Yeah. Because it was about a week ago or a couple days ago. It was the anniversary of him, the infamous video of him saying that he's a man and he's 40. So that was 18 years ago. So he should be 58.
Guys. They won't call him, but I could see Mike Gundy at Florida.
Oh, well, he wanted the job like 3 years ago.
Well, he can wear a visor, so he fits.
Let me tell you something. I have a theory. Once he cut that mullet off, it's been downhill since. When he got rid of his trademark, he lost some of his.
Well, that was a fad.
Chutzpah.
What, a few seasons ago, that was a fad in college football, right?
Yeah.
Everybody had the mullet. Well, a lot of teams had the mullet. Coastal Carolina, everybody had the mullet.
Yep.
Did you ever have a mullet growing up?
No.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me.
Might be right, Pat. It was 2021. That's when he cut the mullet.
See? Told you. And that's when they finished 7th in 2021 in the AP poll.
There's a lot of coaches out there, if they knew that would guarantee success, they would grow it if they could.
You better believe it. We have got more new people coming up. We have almost got this maxed out again up here.
800-239-WJOX. Phone lines are open. Let's go to Gringo, who is currently on the sand in the Gulf of America. Gringo, what's up?
One more time at the Gulf of America. What a way to follow something. Breaking news, Mike Gundy gets fired. Love the analysis, though, on the spur of the moment. That's why WJOX bring that in front for one. So far, so good here at the Gulf of America. Just wanted to thank you for bringing on Mike Griffith. He keeps on talking about his fine place here at the Gulf of America. I wouldn't mind meeting up with him and seeing what's what.
Yeah, we can get you that Jocks discount if you and your lovely bride ever want to go down there.
Well, I'm thinking more about myself and my extended family continuing to grow, and wouldn't mind coming down here, enjoying his hospitality in his place.
Well, Gringo, we'll send you the address. You can go by. Don't know if he has any guests that are staying there right now, but you can knock on the door and tell them you're interested and that you know Mike, and maybe they'll give you a tour.
There you have it. There you have it. Guys, what a great emotional and great produced video by Bruce Pearl and Auburn Tennessee last night. I did not know things were going down about Bruce Pearl yesterday, but man, if you're an Auburn fan or just a fan of basketball,
Yep.
hard not to have a tear in your eye watching that.
Yeah, Gringo, and because of the reception there on the beach, we're going to let you go. We appreciate you listening on the Jocks app. But, yeah, the Bruce Pearl tribute video, roughly 14 minutes, something like that. Very well done, and I know that I talked to Alabama fans and Auburn fans that saw it, and there's a lot of people here in this state and around college basketball that appreciate the career and what he did, and a lot of people appreciate what he stood for. And how he went about it. 800-239-WJOX. The text line is open as well, 205-834-9450. It is a fun group that we have here at Social Taco. We're in the Terrace. You can come and join us. The Mix and Match Taco Tuesday, the Mexican pizzas, the chicken feathers, so much. SocialTaco.bar to check out the menu there. We're going to head to Oxford, Mississippi. A big one coming up between the Rebels and the Tigers of LSU this weekend. Evie Van Pelt's going to join us. We'll break that one down as we roll on this Taco Tuesday. Landrum and Pat live from Social Taco in Homewood on Jocks.
If anybody hasn't read this article, I don't read it. This was brought to me by a mother of children. I think this is worth reading. Let me tell you why I want to talk about this article. 3/4 of this is inaccurate. It's fiction. Here's all that kid did. He goes to class. He's respectful to the media. He's respectful to the public. And he's a good kid. And he's not a professional athlete. And he doesn't deserve to be kicked when he's down. That's why I don't read the newspaper. Because it's garbage. And the editor that let it come out is garbage. Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40. I'm not a kid. Write something about me or our coaches. That's all I got to say. It makes me want to puke.
Well, there's one thing for sure. They're going to be writing a lot over the
18
next
years
couple
later.
days about Mike Gundy, who was fired today at Oklahoma State. So that'll be one of those jobs that over the next 24 to 48 hours, you're going to hear a lot of names.
One that I didn't think of that was thrown out by our listener Posey on the text line, Jimbo Fisher.
We'll see. 1-800-239-WJOX, the Courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450. Let's go to the phones. Sheila joins us here on the program. Hey, Sheila.
What up, guys? What up? It is hot, hot, hot out here. Don't you love it? Don't you love it?
Why aren't you up here enjoying some of this
Ooh-wee.
social taco? What is going on, Sheila? We haven't seen you in a
Oh,
while.
you know, shout out to I know because I've been working. I'm on the road, actually. I listen to you guys. Shout out to the great guys and beautiful lady that you work with. So I am just excited to talk about. First of all, I got to tell Gringo in the Gulf of America, you know, it's kind of an oxymoron. Your name is Gringo, and you're in the Gulf of America. Gringo, Gulf of America. I'm a little confused, and maybe you are too. But I'm going to let you have that. I'm going to let you have that today. That wasn't even on my radar. Football and basketball was. So, Gringo, I don't think you were very good in geography, but I got a map if you need it, and you can loan it. Hey, I'll text it to you. But anyway, on another front, I do want to talk about Bruce Pearl, who I absolutely adore, War Eagle. I absolutely adore Bruce Pearl because you guys remember it was a toss-up between him, Patino, that kind of thing, and they were talking about his background. You know how Auburn likes to play it safe. You get Bruce Pearl, who doesn't, and now you're the man in basketball. You're known all over the country, all over the world, and now he's gone. His son's there. And I think he's going to do something. So let me flip it. I think if he runs for U.S. Senate, if Tommy Tuberville, former Auburn coach, because you know those Auburn guys, they like a little politics. Auburn coach goes to be the governor. That's Tommy Tuberville, who's now U.S. Senate. And then we send Bruce Pearl to Washington. Then we'll all be in NIL heaven. We'll do what we want. Guys, what do you think?
No, I think you're absolutely right. There's no question that Bruce Pearl, if he were to become the U.S. Senator and be back up there in D.C. where Tuberville is leaving to potentially be the governor of the state of Alabama, you would have a huge proponent for NIL and for guardrails and things of that nature to try to straighten out the NCAA. So, yes, Sheila, I agree with that 100%.
So from that perspective, I'm just going to kind of lay it on the line. And last thing I'm going to say before I let you guys go is that we just got really ripped. And it was a great matchup with Oklahoma. It was a great matchup. I think Hugh is trying. You got to let Hugh be Hugh. He's not warm and fuzzy like that. You could look at his beard and tell he's not warm and fuzzy. Sometimes he doesn't shave. He looks like he had a hangover. But guess what? You got to let a guy like that coach. He doesn't want to do what the boosters want to do. He doesn't want to fraternize with the community. He just wants to coach football, and you're on his tail. You're on him. So he doesn't have a choice. So he's not wanting to see your parents. He don't want to see you boosters. He cares a little about the fans. He doesn't even want to dress like an Auburn man. I've been on him about his swag because he didn't have any, but now he's getting better. And did you see his jacket? He hit my swag meter, and I didn't want to do it. But he hit my swag meter with the jacket he had on. It was slamming. But, again, he just wants to coach. Leave him alone, because if he doesn't do it this year, he might be looking, too, like the rest of them. So I'm going to give him a chance. Last year I called him the anti-freeze, and this year I'm going to freeze myself. I'm just going to stay stuck in time until after the season. But we got ripped at Oklahoma. But the other thing is the O-line is they're weak. There's no way that guy should have been sacked that many times. But we also know, Jackson Arnold, we also know when you walk away and get in the portal, baby, you are a target number one. Mandate. You know what? You're going to get sacked. But the O-line's got to get better. Guys, I'm going to leave it at that. Tell me what I'm thinking. And I just think we go week to week. We go week to week, so that's my week.
Hey, sounds good. Sheila, come see us. Look
Thanks,
forward
Sheila.
to seeing you.
I'll see you next week. Thank you,
All right,
guys.
sounds good. Thank you, Sheila. Sheila joining us on the program. Let's go to Samuel, who's next here on Three Man Front. Hey, Samuel.
Hey, y'all. How are y'all doing today?
We're doing great. I hope you are.
I think the game Saturday is going to be a nail biter on the edge of your seat the whole game. So Alabama and Georgia game.
Okay. I think a lot of people are probably trending that direction. Maybe a fourth quarter game, depending on what happens.
I agree.
Do you have one way or another, Alabama or Auburn? Excuse me, Alabama or Georgia?
I'm not going to say because last time I did, we lost.
Oh. Okay. You don't want to jinx it. I got you.
Nope. Love the show, guys. Keep it up. Roll Tide.
Thank you, Samuel. Thank you for the call. 1-800-239-WJOX. When we come back here on Three Man Front, Ole Miss Evie Van Pelt from the Rebel Walk. She will join us. We're going to get down to the bottom of this. Is this true? Lane Kiffin's daughter is
Whit Weeks
dating
and Landry Kiffin,
a current LSU Bengal Tiger, and they're playing Saturday. What sideline is Landry going to be on? Is she going to be wearing the powder blue or the gold and purple? We'll get to the bottom of this next on Three Man Front.
Oh, great job, Molly Robinson. Coming back, we're going to talk to Evie Van Pelt. Oxford, Mississippi, that's going to be the site for Ole Miss and LSU coming up Saturday. So many storylines. LSU winning the game in Baton Rouge last year. This year, romance budding between one Landry Kiffin and one Whit Weeks of LSU. How does that play out? Should be an exciting Saturday, Pat Smith.
It's going to be great. It's a great rivalry. Wonderful. But, of course, that side story now with Landry Kiffin. Let's go to our main first lady when it comes to Ole Miss athletics. Ole Miss Evie Van Pelt, the Rebel Walk, joins us now. Evie, just a nice quiet day, right, in the Grove, getting ready for Landry and an LSU football player.
Oh, man, isn't that crazy? And not only is he an LSU football player, but he's the one that last year Ole Miss fans thought should have been called for targeting on Jackson Dart. Hit him like helmet down, and then it wasn't called. And so, yeah, he's not anybody's favorite, even outside of just being an LSU Tiger.
Evie, you know everything around that program, especially the gossip. How did these two get together?
Well, that is one question I don't know the answer to, but I'll tell you, I was laughing. I said, okay, so Ole Miss, we tried the fake injuries, we tried the squirrels on the field. Now are we going after them with our girl weapons? So maybe, you never know. I mean, can Landry just be looking around for that iPad with the with playbook on it or something? So I really am not sure how they hooked up, but I will find that out. But yeah, it's a real thing.
That is amazing. Of all times for it to come out, I guess Landry taking a page out of her dad's social media playbook in regards to announcing to the world of all weeks. And I noticed that, no pun intended, about the whole weeks thing. But the Vegas line has not moved. Ole Miss is still a 1.5-point favorite. So.
Right. So yeah, I'm not sure, but I think they've been dating. This isn't. I mean, it obviously wasn't just this week that they started dating. So it's been a little bit, not a long time, but a little bit. But did y'all see? I'm sure you did. When Lane tweeted. He basically tweeted a picture, and he said, because somebody said, well, who's she going to be, pulling for or whatever, and he basically replied and had a, 100% for the Rebs and had a little drop of blood. Blood is thicker than water. And then, somebody tweeted, I really love college football. Here's Landry letting the public know she's dating Whit Weeks 5 days before LSU and Ole Miss, and this is peak mind games. And then Lane Kiffin replied, take the over. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So I don't know if we're taking the over on the mind games or what we're taking the over on there, but yeah.
It's amazing. All right, Evie, let's talk a little football. Let's talk about this Ole Miss Rebel football team. To me, it was a great win against Tulane because almost everybody in America wanted to take Tulane, not only take Tulane in the points, but some people were saying, okay, this is an upset brewing. This is Ole Miss looking ahead to LSU. Tulane's a really good football team. That could be one of those teams. Maybe you're talking in the college football playoff for the group of five. And Ole Miss just comes out, and Trinidad Chambliss just continues to play really good football and putting up some huge numbers. Do we now have a quarterback controversy in Oxford?
Well, it's interesting because I would honestly, Trinidad's been playing really well. I think Austin is still, that ankle is hobbled. He's hobbled a little bit on it. And I would have thought really, well, I do think if it were me, and I have a quarterback that beats LSU. If that happens this weekend, that would be my quarterback I'm rolling with, whichever one that is. But, yeah, I mean, there are even, there are a lot of fans that are kind of torn on that because everybody loves Austin. He's a great kid, and he has a lot of talent. But you can't argue with what Trinidad has done and how he's just taken control. And part of that may be Austin's 19 and hadn't had a lot of experience. And Trinidad's 23. So, he's an older guy. But, yeah, and then Lane, I don't know if y'all heard this week, yesterday, in the press conference. I mean, Lane basically was asked, what is the determining factor here? And he said it's health. And then he said if Austin is 100%, he's the starting quarterback. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So I don't know. I mean, I know he's not 100% right now. Now it's just Tuesday, so who knows? But I can tell you he's not 100% as of today.
The Magnolia Bowl, the rivalry that is LSU and Ole Miss, put into perspective for our listeners here what that rivalry means to the Ole Miss folks.
And I tell you, in all this talk about the permanent opponent, well, at least the sort of permanent opponents or whatever, LSU just had to be in there. And the hate is deep there on both sides, I believe. In fact, one of it's kind of funny moment in the press conference yesterday. There's a media member who was a player at Ole Miss back in the day, and he basically just said, Coach, this one really means a lot to a lot of us former players. And Lane, typical Lane, he quipped, oh, okay, well, we'll really try then this weekend. We'll try to win. And he said that's kind of my boss, meaning Keith Carter, does that too. Like when we're playing Arkansas, really need to win this one, Coach. Oh, okay, well, we'll really work on that. We weren't going to otherwise. But, it is huge. I mean, they're not that far in proximity, but they've had some, just some crazy games, and it means the world to both sides, I believe.
Just go ahead and say it. You wanted to say it just means more. That's fine.
It just means more. I know. I did want to say that, but then I thought, no, I won't. But yeah, I mean, I can't really speak for the LSU folks, but I know the Ole Miss. Pat can tell you. The hatred is real.
No, it's real for sure. Evie Van Pelt joins us from the Rebel Walk as we're talking about LSU and Ole Miss coming up this weekend. So let's go ahead and play the what-if game. I'm not trying to put the cart before the horse, so to speak. But if a victory at home against LSU, then you got Washington State, and then you got two really tough games on the road against Georgia and Oklahoma. Oklahoma looks like the real deal after us getting an eye full of them this weekend against the Auburn Tigers. What could this win against LSU do in your mind in regards to, I guess, setting up the Rebels for the rest of the back half of their schedule?
Well, I tell you what, I think it's really key because this LSU game obviously is at home, and both OU and Georgia, Ole Miss is on the road. Tough to win on the road in the SEC, as Lane will tell you. So they really need to get this one. I think if they can get this win, then they play Washington State. And regardless of what the quarterback situation will be, because who knows, I think that sets them up really well, because I think potentially if they were to, and I'm not saying they will, but were they to lose to Oklahoma or Georgia or both, if they say they lose to both, let's play that out, then, and they win the rest of their games, I mean, I think with two losses coming to an OU and a Georgia, now not a Florida or like last year Kentucky, but Ole Miss would absolutely, I think, be in the hunt for a playoff berth. And so, LSU, that's a really critical game, because I think you lose three, you're definitely, as Ole Miss has learned, you ain't in it anymore.
A win Saturday, does that mean a field storming by the Ole Miss faithful?
I don't think so. They could prove me wrong, but I think the cost has gotten so high for that, and Ole Miss has put out some things, about storming the field. I mean, nobody wants to say ahead of time, hey, don't storm the field. You don't want to look too far ahead and assume anything. But I don't know. I mean, that being said, it is a huge, huge game with so many implications. LSU being top 5 in the country. Although I'll tell you, I don't think they've really played anybody. So I do think, there is that. So we'll see how good they are. But Lane talked on and on about, used to you could always count. I mean, LSU gets the top kids in state and they get them to stay. But now that they've jumped into portal world and finished number one in the portal this last go around, I mean, Lane absolutely, basically was impressed with what they did in the portals. And he said they got, 3 of their DBs he thinks were the 3 highest paid DBs in the portal this last go around. And so Ole Miss, it's going to be interesting. I think Ole Miss is second in the country right now in yards per completion at 17. And so that's going to be interesting going up against that LSU secondary.
I know it will be made official tonight, and you've already touched on it with Landrum's question about LSU and the rivalry. But if you had to replace Oklahoma with someone else in the next 4 years, what team would it have been, Evie? Would it have been Arkansas or someone else? Arkansas.
It would have been Arkansas. I mean, I don't get the whole OU thing. Ole Miss and Oklahoma have played a grand total of 2 times in history, and one of those was last year. So I don't, historical rivalries. I don't get that. It almost felt like they got kind of to the end and were like, oh yeah, we got these 2, so yeah, let's just put them together. I mean, it didn't make sense to me. I mean, I think A&M would have made more sense than OU. I'm just not really sure about that.
You just wanted that for your own household.
I did. That would have been fun. But yeah, I mean, I think Arkansas would have made the most sense there.
Yeah.
And it really didn't make a lot of sense to me. So, I mean, not really from any level. I'm kind of confused on that one, but it is what it is. And I mean, I think I think Ole Miss has played Arkansas 72 games, and they played Vandy 94 games.
Oh wow.
So to me, and they played Oklahoma twice. So, again, I guess the powers that be that, had other ideas. And Kiffin basically just said this week, he was asked about it, and he was just like, yeah. I mean, he actually said, whatever. We just have to beat LSU. And, I think he thinks it doesn't make a lot of sense either. But, as he says, famously, it is what it is.
No, you're right. That is Evie Van Pelt. You can follow her work at the Rebel Walk. Evie, always great catching up. Should be a lot of fun this weekend between LSU and Ole Miss. Hope to catch up with you again soon.
I would love that. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Evie. Always great to talk to Evie Van Pelt. She joined us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
Already one college football coach fired today. If you missed it, we'll give you the details of that and who could be replacing him as we continue live from Social Taco here in Homewood in the Terrace. It's 3-man front. We are Jocks.
It is 12:49. Always great to catch up with Evie Van Pelt. If you missed any of our interviews today, man, Mike Griffith brought it. Almost a 30-minute conversation previewing the Alabama-Georgia game. Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Texas A&M Aggies. David Waters gave us an update of Billy Napier, his future down in Gainesville. Evie Van Pelt, you just heard her talking about LSU and Ole Miss. Dimitri Ravanos is going to join the program from SEC Unfiltered at the top of the hour. But the big story today in college football, Mike Gundy, 2 decades in Stillwater, Oklahoma. It has come to an end. He was fired today by Oklahoma State. They're parting ways with him after 20 seasons, 170 wins. Gundy had won 170 games at his alma mater among active coaches. Only Kirk Ferentz at Iowa and Clemson's Dabo Swinney had more. 8 times Gundy won 10-plus games. And you think about this, Conrad, Gundy spent more than half of his life, 35 of 58 years, at Oklahoma State as a player, assistant, and a head coach. Before Gundy, Oklahoma State only had 4 winning seasons in 16 years. Gundy went 18 consecutive years with a winning season at Oklahoma State.
Yeah, that's remarkable. I mean, he is, when you think of the modern era of college football coaches, certainly one of the more iconic ones. And, I've always been a big fan of his work in the 2011 season with that choke job against Iowa State that allowed the Alabama
to get into the
to have the rematch with LSU for the national championship. But no, I mean he's been fantastic, and obviously as a personality, we will miss the sound bites and all of that good stuff that came with Mike Gundy. See, my question is, if you're Oklahoma State, do you build a statue of a guy like Mike Gundy? Because he never won a national championship, obviously.
Absolutely.
But for what he meant to that program, I have to imagine that is something that will happen hopefully in the not too distant future, and it's something, again, we talk about this a lot, that he'll get to see during his lifetime.
Yeah, I've had an opportunity to interview Mike Gundy a couple of times. I've never been around him physically, but interviewing him a couple of times, he was outstanding. He was very personable, just a really easy guy, unlike Bob Stoops. Bob Stoops is just, the best way to put it.
Bob full of himself, maybe?
Bob Stoops was just difficult. Maybe he wasn't that way with people in the state of Oklahoma, but I can tell you one thing. And, I also know that Bob didn't particularly care for us in the southeastern portion of the United States, because when Oklahoma got the nod over Auburn to play for the national championship and then they got embarrassed, that he knew that a lot of us in the Southeastern Conference kind of took shots at Big Game Bob.
Or him and Mark
that was his nickname.
Close?
Him and Mark Stoops?
Yeah.
His brother?
Yeah.
I think so.
They just seem like
they
very
all get along.
They seem like different personalities.
They all have worked together a million times.
Fair, yeah.
You had Mike Stoops, Mark Stoops. Who else am I missing? There's another brother.
And let Mark Stoops go to Oklahoma State.
Well, that'd be something.
Ooh.
That would be
I'd be staying at Kentucky as long as I could with that deal.
But, it goes back to – it was inevitable that it was going to happen. But, you go back to Friday night, losing to Tulsa, 19-12.
I really thought they might do it on Saturday. That was – you can't defend that.
No, you can't. On top of the fact that you've lost 11 FBS games in a row and you lost to Oregon by 66 points.
And you remember it was – so, obviously, last year's when it really went off the rails. But it was it not 2023 when they were – somewhat of a factor in the playoff conversation? Obviously, they didn't get in, but they had a pretty nice season in 2023 from what I remember. And so for it to just go downhill so quickly, it's shocking. But as y'all talked about and discussed very well, the reality is it's a new era of college football, and if you're not going to adapt to that and you're not going to go full steam ahead with that, people are going to make changes.
You just lost to a team from your own state that has won 7 games one time.
Whew.
Since 2016. Whew. A 2-win season, a 3-win season, a 4-win season, a 6-win, that's 7-win, 5-7, 4-8, 3-9, and 2-2 this season. Wow.
Man.
I got to see him up close last year. Again, respectfully, but that speaks volumes for where Oklahoma State is or is not.
Well, you just
football program.
Think about how dramatically our opinion shifted after the Arkansas game last year, because we were talking about that was the last FBS win that he had.